What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Second City Sports Talk Show. I'm Keaton, a.k.a. Kid Genius.
Kid Genius.
Here with the one and only Papa Bear.
Papa Bear, here for you guys.
And while the weather outside may be frightful, that Bears win last week was absolutely delightful. How are you feeling about the season after that win?
Wow, the season, it's been a long season. I mean, this has been tricky. Some really good ups and downs. I mean, some good ups, some really bad downs.
Yeah.
It's weird. We'll talk about this later, but there's still a chance for us to go to the playoffs. How crazy is that? We'll talk about that in a later segment. What we want to talk about first, though, is that game against the Vikings, that first game.
The first game.
Against the Vikings.
That was a heartbreaker.
Remind me, I'm old, so I can't remember everything.
I feel like as bad as the Packers game was, that was definitely the low of the season for our offense. I mean, we had 149 yards total on offense in that one game. We were 2 for 11 on third down, just averaging 3 yards a play.
Yeah.
I mean, and against a very weak Vikings defense too.
Sure.
It really felt like there was no hope for us after that game. That was a killer. Yeah. Especially going into that game. The Vikings, they had won a few games, but they were still like a 3-win team. We should have I come away with that game feeling like we should have won.
Yeah, and we contained Cook too, and that was sort of a really important thing in that game. But Cousins just he destroyed us in that game. It was crazy. I remember he had one of his, I think maybe like a career game or something like that game, wasn't it? I mean, it was crazy how Cousins took over.
Time, I think.
Who's their? They have a wide receiver, Justin.
Justin Jefferson, the breakout rookie.
Oh, I think
he's without a doubt the rookie of the year for me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's definitely.
Well, there you go. Prediction: rookie of the year, Justin Jefferson. We'll get it right. All right. Well, I mean, that Vikings game was tricky because, here we thought we could win that one. It looked pretty good, I think, for most of the game. But, that's what happens. The Bears kind of tanked that one.
But, I mean, we have to think about it. In just 4 weeks, so much has changed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we got a completely new QB under center.
Yeah.
We got David Montgomery back, a completely new offensive line, completely different. I mean, I think that was probably our offensive line's worst game of the season. In general, it was everyone's worst game. But our offensive line has been playing incredibly well. Our offense has looked a lot better. And I think that's going to be one of the main storylines is that can this Bears offense stay explosive like they have been? Even in the Packers game in which we got blown out, the offense was a bright spot.
Well, I mean, speaking of, let's talk about the keys to this game. So, again, we're both 6-7, and this is a huge game. I mean, it's a rivalry game in the first place. Shout out to my brother out there who happens to be a Vikings fan. He knows what I'm talking about. Let's talk a little bit about this game. What is the biggest key in your mind? I know you got a few to tell about. Tell us one of those keys here.
So my first key to the game is going to be we have to get pressure up front with Akeem Hicks back and Khalil Mack and even Bilal Nicholas, right?
Is he back? I hope he's okay.
Yeah,
he's not hurt.
But I think we there's no excuse now for us not to get a bunch of pressure up front.
Sure.
We're going to have to. I think that's going to be a really important thing. Get to Kirk Cousins, get to Dalvin Cook, meet them in the backfield before they can exploit our secondary, which is kind of banged up. My second key to the game is going to be Trubisky. Obviously, I mean, he's the QB. He's basically a key to the game every single week. You never know what you're going to get with Trubisky. But I really liked what I saw with the Texans, and I really liked the play calling by Matt Nagy and Bill Lazor, and I think we really need to continue that. And the Texans were a weak team on defense, and I'm fully expecting that the Bears will do the same to
so Trubisky himself is an entire key, or is there something about Trubisky that he has to do that's like a key?
My big thing for him is to not make big mistakes, and Matt Nagy, I hope, is going to go with the same game plan, give him a lot of easy reads, letting him get out the pocket a lot, and that's where Trubisky is really comfortable, and I feel like that's how we shredded the Texans last week, and that's how it's going to have to happen again, and we're going to need to do it against the Vikings, who are 22nd on defense this year.
I wrote down no turnovers, so Trubisky hold the ball well. None of these stupid interceptions that you're just chucking over. a huge thing. I think it changes the way the offense runs. I think it changes a lot of the plays they call. It really keeps, it makes Mitch a better player when he doesn't turn things over. I know that seems a little obvious, but that's important for him. I think it's good for his psyche to just have some good yardage gains. Even if we go 3 and out and we don't turn the ball over, especially when we're down in the red zone or something like that, it is really important for us not to do that. So it was kind of one of my keys, really tied into Keaton's key about Mitch. So kid genius. No.
So my last key is going to be with Jalen Johnson, our rookie cornerback who has emerged as cornerback, one of our best cornerbacks right now, and Buster Screen are both out for this game.
Yeah.
And the way that our secondary has been struggling, other than last week, it is a little bit concerning for me that now 2 of our starting cornerbacks are out. Yeah. So my third key, my final key to the game is going to be, can the linebackers and backup cornerbacks step up and guard a really good receiving core for the Vikings. The Vikings, they have Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and they have a pretty good tight end core if I'm not mistaken.
I'm happy that I don't know
as well as Dalvin Cook, who's a really good receiving back.
Sure.
So my big thing is that the linebackers and the backup secondary is going to have to step up.
Yeah, and the Vikings are coming off a horrible loss, right? I mean, what was the score of that game?
26-14. It was pretty embarrassing, and it just wasn't great, especially for the Vikings, who before that game had won 5 out of their last 6.
Yeah, so it means that they got a little bit of a chip on their shoulder. They really want to come back, and they beat us last time, so I think they're coming in with a little bit of confidence and the want to come back. And of course, it's a playoff base. It's basically like a playoff game in many ways for this game. I just wanted to add one little key to the game that you didn't really talk about specifically, but I think we, on the offense, we need to establish the running game, right? So I think that's an important thing.
I mean, I think that's a thing week in and week out. I think that's something that it's been a focus point for the Bears the entire season. I remember at the beginning of the season, Matt Nagy, he said, this is the year that we're going to finally get a running game, and it really hasn't happened. Yeah. But although last week and the week before that, we're promising David Montgomery's finally starting to break out. Offensive line's finally starting to break. I mean, it feels like.
Let's talk a little bit about the playoffs. I think we have a good chance in this game. You want to give your prediction for the Bears game while we're talking about the Vikings-Bears game? Talk about that. We'll do the other predictions later.
All right,
give me your Bears prediction. I think it's important.
My predictions for this game, the Bears, it's going to be razor close. I mean, probably a little bit closer. Probably a little bit too close for comfort.
Too close.
The Bears are going to win by 1 point.
Woo!
24-23. I think defense maybe makes a big stand.
I thought you were going to say 1-0, but no, definitely not 1-0. I'm on your side. I think that's going to happen, and we need it to happen. We need it to happen for the playoffs, right?
Yeah, I think if we came in here and just said, I don't think the Bears are going to win, I think that would just be showing that the Bears have given up.
Yeah, well, Bears playoffs chances are still there. It's crazy. I want to talk a little bit about some of the scenarios that can happen. So, I mean, the main thing is you got to win tomorrow. That's 100%. That just has to happen, right? And then we got 2 more games, right? If we can also beat the Jaguars, great. We win that game. If we lose against the Packers, that's okay. We don't have to. It would be great if we won out. If we win out, what happens elsewhere isn't quite as important. But the chances of us going 2-1 rather than 3-0 in this is a lot more likely, right? There's a good chance we're not going to beat the Packers. They're real good, and we just can't seem to beat the Packers. I feel horrible about it, but that's just how it is. Someday we'll talk to you on our channel about how easy it is to beat the Packers, but that's just not these days. So
2025.
We must win against the Vikings. Let's just start there. And then if we're hoping this weekend the Eagles can beat the Cardinals. Here we are living in Philadelphia. Go Eagles. Shout out to my buddies here in Philadelphia in the area here. Go Eagles. I don't care who's playing QB this week. I want you to win. Let's beat those Cardinals. Let's keep them downtrodden.
Yeah, and about the Eagles, I mean, they came and beat the Saints last week.
Oh, I know. I mean, hey, if you got to have something to cheer about. And the Falcons, if the Falcons can beat the Bucs, that really helps us as well. It's we got to keep the Bucs down. Falcons have not had a great season, but if they can beat them, hey, Let's get that in there. And that really solidifies our chance. I mean, it makes it like 98% chance of us to win, get into the playoffs at that point. So there's not as many things need to happen. If we can win 2 games, if we win 3 games, it basically makes it impossible unless the Cardinals also win out. So that's not going to win. That's not going to happen.
I mean, and also I was looking at the Cardinals schedule.
Yeah.
They have I feel like a pretty hard game for them is going to be against the Rams.
Sure.
That's their last game of the season.
Schedule for them.
That's the last game of the season. So that's one thing that the Bears fans have to cheer about is that we feel pretty confident that they're going to lose to the Rams.
Yes.
But they also play the Eagles, and the Eagles have I feel like a good chance at that.
Yeah, we need that. So go Eagles. Now, we can still make the playoffs. Strangely, we can actually still make the playoffs if we beat the Vikings and lose to the Jaguars and to the Packers. We'll be like, it'll be 7 and 9.
If we lose to the Jaguars,
and then about 500 other things need to happen. Everyone needs to kind of lose that is in our playoff bracket. So that's not going to happen. So we really need this game and the Jaguars game to be wins, and then we'll see how it goes with the rest of the teams in the schedule.
Yeah.
So
that's an interesting scenario. Yeah. It's part of the reason why I was never a really big fan of the seventh seed in the playoffs is because I feel like all the teams in the NFC that are battling it out for that 7th seed, none of them really deserve to be in the playoffs. Right. So I didn't like that when they made that decision. But if it gives us a chance, I'm all in.
Anyway, that's the playoff scenarios. Go Bears. Let's do this. Let's keep on moving forward. Now, the last segment we always love to do is talk about our weekly predictions. Keaton, since we started the channel, is now 9-3.
I did struggle last week, though. Yeah. I went 1-2.
Yeah,
it was definitely my worst week. It was tough games. Yeah. The Ravens beat the Browns in a razor close game. I don't think anyone predicted that game to be that close.
Yeah.
But
and then what was the other game? It was crazy. It was the other. I can't remember the other one you lost. What was the other loss from last week? We'll go back and look at it. But it was the Steelers. The Steelers lost? Is that right?
Steelers lost. I have a gut feeling about the Bills, but I put too much trust in the Steelers. Yeah. Anyway, what are our predictions for this?
So let's do our predictions this week. So we're going to start with 1 o'clock. Well, for us, 1 o'clock game tomorrow. It's the Seahawks at the Washington football team.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, the Seahawks, they've kind of been struggling a little bit recently.
Yeah.
They started off the season really hot, and Russell Wilson was looking like a clear MVP frontrunner, and they've kind of fallen off. I mean, they won last week, but they have kind of fallen off, and a lot of my confidence in them has kind of gone away. But I still like them over the Washington football team. Okay. I think they're just a much better team.
Seahawks, what about a score-ish?
Score?
Give me a close.
28 to 19.
19. Okay, good score. All right, the second game is this really important game with the Eagles and Cardinals. So that's a 4 o'clock game. Eagles are at the Cardinals. Cardinals are 7-6. Eagles 4-8-1. Crazy. But who's going to win this game? I mean, we know who we want to win the game. Who do you predict to win this game?
The Eagles have a lot of momentum. I know, although the Cardinals are definitely the favored to win, I feel like there's a lot of people right now really hard riding the Eagles.
Yeah.
So, you know what? This might be a little bit of bias as a Bears fan, but I'm picking the Eagles. I think Jalen Hurts is going to make a statement that he's definitely the starter for the Eagles. Okay. I think they're going to come out and beat the Arizona Cardinals. I'm going to get weird with it. I'm going to go.
Going weird time.
I'm going to go 26-32.
26-32. Okay. Yeah. All right. Doesn't seem too weird, but hey.
It is weird.
I thought you were going to go like.
How often do you see 32?
I thought you were going to go like Cardinals get a field goal and that's it. And then the Eagles beat them 43-3 or something. All right. So.
Not that weird.
So, all right. So. I'm cool with that. I think the Eagles are actually going to beat them a little more handily than what Keaton just said there. But I don't do predictions because, he's the genius here. All right, so last game, another game, a Sunday game. Chiefs 12-1 against the 10-3 Saints.
Yeah,
big game, obviously.
The Chiefs so far in these predictions have been the safe pick for me every single week. I feel like I think we've had 3 Chief games in the predictions, and I picked the Chiefs every single time. And you know what? I'm not going to change that.
Don't change that.
The Chiefs are going to beat the Saints. I know they got Drew Brees back. I think the Chiefs are just the best team in the league right now.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to win. I know that Saints defense has been doing well, but I think they're going to put up 31 on them, and the Saints are going to score 21.
31 to 21. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think obviously both teams are going to make the playoffs. It doesn't really matter.
They already clinched.
Both teams are already clinched. So, they probably, I don't think they're going to sit their starters at this point yet, but who knows? For all those fantasy football.
The Saints can't do that.
For all those fantasy football fans out there, you definitely don't want them sitting their people. So, all right. Well, that's what we wanted to cover today. I want to do a quick shout out to Northwestern Wildcats. Had a good game against Ohio State today. We didn't pull it through for the Big Ten championship.
I'm looking forward to see what bowl game we can get.
Yeah, hopefully we get a good bowl game going. Keaton's still wearing his purple down there. So, hey.
Purple Pride.
Great game for part of the game, and we watched the whole thing. It was exciting. That's our story for today. So thanks for joining us. We'll be here. We're going to come back to you tomorrow. So we're going to post another Sunday game, and we're going for Sundays and Wednesdays from now on. So we'll do a game reaction from the game for tomorrow.
I just want to make sure that everyone realizes this is our last Saturday post. We're going to start posting on Wednesdays. This we decide it's going to be beneficial for everyone's schedule. Yep. Look forward to that Wednesday games.
Yep. This video, like the other videos, subscribe, tell your friends. We need some more subscribers. We're getting more as we go along here, but we're really excited to bring more awesome stuff to this channel and to move forward with some really cool topics going forward once the NFL season is over. So what else you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah.
And go Bears!
Go Bears. Thanks, Bears Nation. Talk to you later.